What's up, rollers? My name's Ron with my buddy Nate here, and in this video we're going to talk about how you can make level 20 fun for the player and Dungeon Master. Welcome to our first video. We figured what better way to kick off 2020 than to talk about level 20. So a few months ago, XP to level 3 actually released out a video titled Level 20 is Dumb. We watched it and we figured that we could offer a fresh perspective on maybe the positive and the things you can do to make it enjoyable. As a little side thing, I just want to throw out there, I've actually got to meet him at BlizzCon 2019. He's a super cool dude, and I hope you all get to have the same encounter one of these days. With that being said, let's talk about how we can make level 20 fun.
So let's take some of the points that XP to level 3 made in his video and just see how we can overcome some of those challenges to getting to level 20 and making it fun for the DM and the players. First point that gets made is that most games aren't played to level 20 anyway. And a big problem with that is logistics, getting people together to actually play for that long to level 20. First answer I would give to that is pretty simple. It's just run a one-shot or play in a one-shot. That's pretty easy to get people committed to, one game night rather than an entire years-long campaign or two-year-long campaign. That way you get to see what it's like to play and run for level 20 so that you can maybe plan for a longer game next time. Next off, the argument gets made that D&D isn't designed to be played past level 10. Well, I would argue that it absolutely is designed to be played past level 10. It's just your gameplay style has to play, especially as the DM. So one thing you can do there is use the tier system, because if you're using the kinds of encounters that you would for someone from 1 to 5 and just ramping that up once they're past level 10, yeah, it's going to be kind of boring, or they're going to smash everything that you throw at them with little to no effort. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say, 1 through 5, a challenging encounter is like an ogre or a handful of ogres or maybe a giant. Okay, well, you can't just have like a bigger, badder bruiser past level 10. Sure, you can't even just have, like a bigger, badder monster past level 10. The challenges become more focused on roleplay and character engagement. That could look something like, let's say you have a paladin and she can do 70 points of damage in one hit. It's like she's beefy, she's got all the smites, she's got all the power, she's got all the stuff you want a paladin to have. But can she lead an army? Can she run an order? Can she be an honor guard or train the new honor guards at her old temple? That's the kind of challenges that you start getting at level 10 because you're a figure influence as a player. As a DM, to make things fun past level 10, you have to give them challenges that can't be solved by smashing or charming or blasting or teleporting your way out of something.
It's actually a really good point that you're bringing up with that, because when you say with the tier system, doing something where it's like training an honor guard or, trying to lead an army or doing something along those lines, well, there's actually, I think it's on page 15 of the player's handbook, they actually have a 4-tier level of when you actually level up on how you're described. Yeah. So like level 17 to 20, you are the pinnacle of your race. You are the hero of your realm.
You can give them something to do that's not combat. It's like you can kind of start them being really plugged into your world. So I guess the takeaway from level 10 to 20 is as the DM, challenge your players with things that can't be solved just with brute force or raw power. And to summarize, that's, political challenges, building a stronghold, leading, an order of paladins or a cabal of wizards or something like that. Or if you're a rogue, it could be making connections, kind of like Littlefinger from Game of Thrones.
It's not just tied down to one class or even a race. It's very diverse and can be spread across all of them. It's just the DM gets to have that fun of finding how, and the player gets to enjoy the experience and the journey of finding what.
Yeah, as a DM, it's definitely fun to have players who are bought into the world, and throwing challenges like that will make things a lot of fun for the players, and then they'll buy in even more, and you get to do even more fun stuff with your setting. After all that, you get to level 20. Another point that gets made is that at level 20, players are just too powerful. Like, you can't challenge them, or, they have too much control. They have access to too many abilities, too many items. There's a few ways you can address that. First of all, as the DM, you kind of control the flow of the resources that they get, so you can just make sure that you don't inundate them with stuff up front. It's not obligatory that at 5th level your party have a bag of holding or a handful of +1 items. It would be boring if they had nothing. Obviously, they should find some loot along the way, but you can make things feel special. It's like, oh, I found a +1 item at 4th level. That's significant. So that way, by the time you get to level 20, you haven't exhausted all your options, and they don't just have like, well, gosh, what do I do with my 10 different wands and my bag of 50 potions and all these other scrolls and cloaks and swords and hammers and thunderbolts and everything. It's too...
That's a good point you bring up, though, because like you could still have the same effect, but just not with items. It could apply more so now to an encounter with an NPC, not combat encounter, just an actual literal encounter. Something that can give you the same type of butterflies in your stomach feeling and, get all excitement, like as if you would if you found the, oh my gosh, sword.
So the answer there to unlimited resources or too many abilities, too much loot is control the flow a little more. Pace it out. Even if they have a bunch of stuff when they get to level 20, though, this is the other point, is that you're still the DM. You are the alpha and the omega, the god of gods, the king of kings. You can come up with something to challenge all of those abilities. One argument gets made is that they have too much control. Like you, the DM, start to lose some of that control. I say, one, you don't, but also you don't really need to have all the control at that point. You can actually let go and let them start controlling the world. Let them buy in even further to the world. Because if they're controlling things, that means they're invested in controlling things, right? They are actually concerned about the outcome of this combat or this nation or this place.
That's what makes a player engaged in your story. Like I said before, you're the pinnacle of your race, the hero of your realm. Players are going to alter the game, but like you said, let them in that respect. That's something that's for them to change. And the players can also negatively alter the game, depending on how they go about that, or if they fail.
One thing to keep in mind at level 20 as the DM is that your job isn't just to run combat or to even run the NPCs or to run the rules or adjudicate whatever comes up at the table. It's to facilitate story, right? So at level 20, some pretty wild stories can happen because they have so many abilities. Use the abilities, like throw things out there, little carrot on a stick, oldest trick in the book, but throw things out there that engage those abilities in a dramatic narrative way. That's one way to make level 20 fun. That might seem a little tedious, but let's say you're the kind of person who really does want your players to fight Tiamat or something like that level, but you want something kind of fresh. Here's an example. Take something like the Tarrasque, the stat block for a Tarrasque, and call it something different. Call it like a kaiju from Pacific Rim. Give it and have them be different kinds. Have one with wings, one with a breath weapon, one that's immune to magic, and have them all attack at once. That's an epic battle. And have it attack something that's important to the players. Don't just have it attack the players. Put a third party in jeopardy. So now they're worried about the other third party. And so basically reskin something that's super powerful and make it your own. Take something that you like, one of your favorite references, and make that the super big, bad, powerful thing that they need to fight. That could absolutely be fun for any level party, especially level 20, when they get to fight high-level stuff like that.
Definitely. And on top of that, I love the fact that you brought up Pacific Rim. What a great reference. And the reason why I say that is because Rising of Eberron, I think it's called, is the exact title.
Bruh.
And in it is these like Warforged Titan, Warforged Colossus that essentially just look like big, huge, like mechanical golems that, well, like Pacific Rim, maybe you can flavor it to where you can control them, or you could have some type of rune. Or, I mean, we're talking D&D here. It's controlled by so much magic. I mean, I'm sure there's something that has that same, like, mind, has to be on the same level effect. You could take that, and then it's, all right, cool. Now you fight these Tarrasque with these really big Warforged golem, mechanical Pacific Rim-like titans.
Yeah, and I could see a party having to go to, like, the City of Brass and, and then barter passage into the Cinder Wastes or whatever.
Absolutely.
And barter with the Azers to have to forge these suits, and you can use the stats of a Warforged Titan or Colossus or whatever. But, like, that would be a really fun adventure even for a level 20 party. And then go and fight these things, Yeah,
and so now what you've done is you've also made it to where you have not only the carrot on the stick, put in a third party to worry about, and in my opinion, fun combat encounter. You've also made it where you just added probably months of another adventure just to get to that point.
Yeah.
Like maybe you have to travel the multiverse and go to Eberron,
Yeah.
and just to achieve that, and then you come back. I mean, at Pacific Rim, they were going through a rift that was an anomaly that was having them come from another world. Well, what's to say the same can't apply in Eberron to whatever your world setting is? I mean, hey, somebody please run this and tell us how it went, because actually I really want to play that now.
I'm playing that.
That sounds so fun.
Well, and that brings up a great point, though, is that, sometimes at level 20, you just kind of get like one thing that happens. It's like, we made it to level 20, we win, right? Well, if you want to adventure at level 20, this is an example of how to do that. It's usually going to be a lot of planescape kind of stuff, hopping around all over the place. Just create a multi-level adventure and really ramp up all the stuff that you would normally put into an adventure: combat, social, and exploration. These are just examples of how to challenge a 20th level party and have it be fun for the DM. Now, one argument is that combat at this level takes a long time. One brief answer to that is plan out your combats. This can feel a little railroady, but at level 20, you don't really have to worry about random encounters so much. So plan out your combats. If you know that they're going to go into the Astral Sea, know when you want to have that combat for the Astral Dreadnought happen, or the army of the Githyanki, and make detailed notes. That might take a little bit of prep, but I bet even with 30 minutes, maybe an hour, you could have a really meaningful combat planned. I would plan out rounds 1, 2, and 3. What does it do on this round? And then Matt Colville has a great video on how to give villains villain actions to make each round interesting. There's all sorts of ways that you can plan for a big combat. I think it's perfectly reasonable to say there's a lot going on here. Because we have so much going on, we're willing to take more time to make this combat interesting.
Going back to the first point, we just kind of want to reiterate this. One of the biggest reasons 1 to 20 can be difficult, yes, it's real life happens. Remember, one-shots are a great way. You could do kind of like the Astral Dreadnought thing or the Kaiju thing. You could definitely do kind of like a quick one-shot with that. Or even
like
a couple week,
like
a couple week adventure. But if you are going to do the 1 to 20 thing, please know it is definitely something that you invest some time into. Yeah. But it can be so rewarding and have such a great sense of accomplishment once you get there. And I'm talking from a DM's perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, I mean, to see that unfold and see how your players interact with it, oh man, that's just takes the cake right there. That's the bread pudding at the end of the race. Huh? With that being said, we'd love to hear from you guys. Let us know if you have any comments, questions, concerns.
Players, DMs, how do you make level 20 fun? Let us know down in the comments.
And remember, we release videos every single week on Tuesday, so don't forget to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and ring that notification bell so you can get notified every time we release a video. And until next time, just remember to roll with it.